Nice to meet you again.
Nice to meet you too.
So my first question is about circular economy model. There is no defined path to achieve circularity. Thank you, Hugo, for the sound. Can you tell us a little bit more about Sodexo's journey?
Yes, I will. Let me tell you first, maybe why I'm so pleased to be here.
Yeah,
Because,
good question.
because in fact, I feel this energy around the circular economy, sustainability, and as a citizen, you can do a lot. And I try to do a lot, like cleaning my dishes properly, or
At 30
at
degrees.
30 degrees, or trying to recycle my waste, or educate my children, or sometimes the other way around, by the way. But as a procurement professional, what you can do, the decision you can take every day will have a massive impact. At Sodexo, my team is in charge of buying around 6 billion euro of goods around the world, buying from 150,000 suppliers. So every decision we will take will have a critical impact. And that's the reason why I love being in procurement, because you are the heart of the engine. And if we have here people from marketing or CSR, I will really encourage them to challenge and be very demanding with our procurement organization, because there is a lot we can do.
So you are happy to tell to work in Sodexo as a procurement man.
I do very much. And what we do in terms of circular economy, for us, for Sodexo, it's very much about being local. You know, the particularity of this.
You don't have choice.
We don't have the choice. We are present in 72 countries, but on 35,000 sites. So if you compare to a big industrial who will deliver 20 or 50 plants in the world, at Sodexo we deliver 35,000 sites.
And you serve 1 million customers each day worldwide.
100 million.
Yeah, 100
million consumers every day in the restaurant. And so, in fact, each restaurant we serve, there is a kitchen. And in this restaurant, we have, as an average, 8 to 9 people working in the kitchen. My job is basically to buy them the good ingredients that they will transform, cook.
What is a good ingredient?
So what are the good ingredients? So what we do is, for us, it's very important that the consumer first find the pleasure of eating. So the good ingredient will be first to make sure that we guarantee the quality of what we buy and the regularity of what we buy. The second thing is that it will be the freshness. So it will be very important to purchase most of our ingredients locally. So for instance, here in France, we work with 20...
Ah, des microphones. Hugo va dire que c'est parce que vous parlez pas assez fort. Il parle assez fort.
Do you want me to yell? I'm going to try this. Okay. Sorry.
Ah.
Maybe I can continue like this.
Non, 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 ils nous entendent pas à côté.
Yeah, we need to disturb the other.
Yeah, yeah. This is the playing, you know, between speakers. We have to Vous nous entendez là-bas? Thank you, Hugo.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, il va marcher après. Ah ouais. 1, 2, 1, 2.
So, in fact, I was talking about local and the challenge of proximity. So, in France, for instance, in our restaurant, we worked with 23,000 local producers. Just take bakery, for instance.
Like who?
Like, for instance, 1,800 bakers.
Okay.
Boulanger.
Ouais, ouais.
Very local. Or dairy will be 100% purchased in France, for instance. So it's very important that we really, let's say, fit to this proximity with our sites. In France, we have a local procurement organization in every region of France, for instance. And obviously, it's also very important that we adjust to the need of our customer. You know, we have very diverse customers. For instance, we have mine in Peru, hospital in England, school in France. So all this diversity of customer needs also that we adjust our supply chain. So when it comes to circular economy for Sodexo, local matters.
So can you give us an example of local initiative? I think you're going to talk about China or the US, no? And you are a video too.
Yes, you want to see the video?
Yeah, you want to see a video?
You want to see? It's short. It's about waste. Waste at Sodexo is critical. We are passionate about it, passionate because it's as you know, it's an environmental tragedy.
Yeah.
1/3 of the food produce is lost on Earth. And if you look at what we, just in our restaurant, before the food goes to our consumer, we estimate we lose between 4 to 10% of the food. It's also extremely costly. So we started a local initiative in the UK. It's called Wasteful to Tasteful, and it's about reusing ugly veggies.
I love
Maybe
that.
we can have a look at the video.
Dad started farming here in 1966. I started going to work with Dad when I was very young and thoroughly enjoyed it, grown up with the business, seen it grown, helped it grow to where we are today. On the farm we get all different shapes and sizes of product. We aim to harvest 80% of the crop per year. We here on the farm try to make sure that we limit our waste as much as we can. Nobody likes to see waste, but there are times if we get lots of rain, courgettes get mud splashed, or it may have a scar on the skin, so it doesn't look as appealing as a courgette that looks perfect. But from a taste point of view, that product, it's still very good and it's still got a place in the market.
I, as a person, get quite upset about the fact that too much is being wasted and too little often is being done. On one hand, we have food banks that are growing in need, and at the other hand, we are wasting too much food. And something has to happen.
When we were originally asked whether we would be interested in getting involved with this project, we thought what an opportunity for us to be able to sell a product which was wonky veg, and also we could branch that out to our other growers.
The beauty of the box is the story that goes with it, and to know that we are working with farmers across the UK to source ingredients and avoid wastage.
It doesn't need to look fantastic. It can be wonky and it still is the same product.
This food is perfect in every way except for the odd blemish, and that's what makes it wonky, and that's why we love it.
I'm still starving. So, can you develop a bit more about this UK program?
Yes, in fact, you see in all those initiatives, the thing is to start small, to do trial. Sometimes it fails, but it's important we try. So in that case, it works well because it's
When
already...
it was launched?
It was launched, not so, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. I need to check that.
Okay, and do you have
And
the amount of the food waste
in fact, what I know is that it's now implemented in 200 different sites in the UK. So and the idea is that it's a source of inspiration for our colleagues in other countries, because everywhere we have this issue, right? So, so the idea is to try and to roll that out. And this is when it comes to upstream. But waste needs to be tackled along the entire supply chain, you know. So what we are doing also is a program which is called Waste Watch, and it's done all around the world now. And we partner with a digital company, and it helps through data to have a better understanding of where the food is lost in our restaurant. Then we analyze that, we track it, and we propose new solution. Like, for instance, the one I like the most is a carrot. When you use a carrot, instead of just using the orange part of the carrot, there are many things that you can do with the leaves, for instance, to do chips or to do salads. And so, for instance, now in certain of our restaurants, we leverage differently the totality of the ingredient we buy. This program is really good because it helps to reduce up to 50% of the waste in our restaurant. And we have taken the commitment to implement that in 100% of the restaurant by 2025. So whether it's upstream or downstream, to improve our operation and to reduce waste, it's happening very locally, and it's happening in partnership with others.
What role do partnerships play in accelerating sustainable solutions across your supply chain, circular supply chain?
Yeah. No, it's all about partnership. Supply chain, Sodexo, is a tiny part of a gigantic supply chain, so there is nothing we can do alone. And when it comes to small companies, It's not a given that a small company can work with a big one and can supply safe, quality, regularly. So it's sometimes actually quite complicated for a small company to access a supply chain of a large one. So we have developed a program which is called Partner Inclusion Program, which help the small company to understand how to work with a large one. So for instance, what are the quality system required to guarantee food safety, the supply chain,
This
the
is your
planning.
criteria when you choose a partner.
Absolutely, because we want to work and develop the business with small companies. At the same time, we are committed to maintain the highest standard of quality, so we cannot take a chance on that. But we have this program to help the small company to be embedded within our supply chain.
And you can go on this.
No, but I wanted to talk about the partnership. It's with the suppliers, and
This is the next question.
Yeah.
To give us an example of how you're working with the suppliers.
Okay. So I know already your question. Is that what you mean?
Absolutely not.
The thing is...
no, it shows that we worked. We prepare for you this discussion.
So we have a lot of things to work with suppliers, obviously. Those guys invest in R&D. They have their own carbon footprint, their own issues. So it will be really about co-working together to find the best solution. Sometimes the solution we know we are not going to find them only with our suppliers. Sometimes the issue is even bigger than that. If you take animal welfare, for instance, it's a critical issue, and for that we have decided to ally with some of our competitors and with some other company. We created the Global Coalition for Animal Welfare, for instance, together with some of our competitors, Nestlé, Unilever. And then also it's about partnering with NGO. Because it's so important to have...
What kind of NGOs, for example?
Well, we partner with many. One of the examples I will have will be the one with WWF, because it's a long-lasting partnership. So we started more than 10 years ago at Sodexo for the seafood, sustainable seafood, but we are working with them in many different areas. And we value the different angle. We value their expertise and the challenge. And it's only by working together with this ecosystem that we will succeed to find solution to some of the major issues that we are facing. So I would say so. The partnership part is absolutely critical. If you want to make this planet a better place to live, we need to work together. Sustainable planet. No, but it's important that we work on it together.
So thank you, Francois. I think you have some questions to talk about Sodexo.
Yes, please.
Yeah, there is one person there.
Yes, one question is...
about South Korea? No.
No, it's not about South Korea. I'm sure there are Sodexo restaurants in South Korea. I work in Stockholm and we have a Sodexo restaurant.
Yes.
And my question is about what role do you play or believe you should play regarding the choices that your consumers are making when they eat at the canteen, in the hospital, in the school every day, and do you have any example about that?
Yeah, it's interesting because Sodexo is a good, well-eating company. People are chefs and passionate about food, but it's also a service company, and people are absolutely passionate about serving their consumer and serving their customer. So sometimes our customer will ask us the impossible, and we will do it. So it's sometimes different to find consistency across the region of the world, because it will depend very much about the culture of eating. So we need to adapt, and we do adapt a lot to our customer request, our customer need, but we also try to educate them and sometimes take position, having a bit of conviction on certain issue. So if you take a very classic one on plastic, for instance, we took the commitment to remove single-use plastic in 15 countries. Whatever the customer specificities are in our contract, we are proactively taking the decision to remove, and it represents today 70% of our business to remove this. So same on, if I take the example of sustainable seafood, and it was 10 years ago, The idea is really, what can we do to raise the industry standards, working together with others to really improve what we will serve to our customer, whether they ask it or not.
I have a question because I'm vegetarian, sorry. So you are talking about sustainable seafood, you are talking about food waste. But we all know now that there is a problem with CO2 emission and methane as well with the red meat. So what did you do on many countries about the red meat? The big issue about that? Because we are all aware there is a big issue with the red meat consumption. So are you improving that on your, maybe your canteen? I don't know.
So
interesting question.
Yeah, no, it's a very good question. Thank you, thank you, Kyria.
We didn't prepare.
That was not on the list.
Because I'm starving.
No, I know. And I'm sure that some of us will love to have a good piece of red meat
vegetarian
as well.
meal are waiting for us.
And it's a critical issue because of the CO2 emission. We know about the beef emission. We know about the soy, which is used in the feed for the animal. So this is really
and
the deforestation.
Yeah.
Soy is and so it's really a massive issue. So how do we tackle that? First, it's about health and wellness, and it's definitely about menu creation. So we again, and we are helped by our customer and consumer on that, because we have more and more requests for vegetarian or flexitarian solution, and we do develop more and more solutions for that.
Like?
I don't know, in the US a few weeks ago, I had a wonderful veggie burger in the burger country.
Yeah, very tasty.
It was fantastic, and serious, and it was done with mushroom. It was absolutely delicious. Now we do need to serve customer also sometimes some good red meat, but definitely what we do for that is, so one, it's about menu. Two, it's also about making sure that our suppliers will respect a sustainable chain along the chain through the right level of certification, partnership. So we do work with our nutritionists, with our partners to help to create menu, and within our supply chain, with our supplier, to make sure that we respect the standards of the industry.
No, it's a big issue, and it's not. I think it's not easy to work with that, but we can improve a bit here. Other solution. Other questions. Two more.
Francois, thank you so much for being here. I'm from the United States, and you mentioned you were in the U.S. last week. And I was wondering if you were aware of a national campaign that's going on in the United States right now, which was started by an activist group out of Berkeley, California. And the name of the group is the Community Coalition for Real Food. And I was just wondering if Sodexo is going to create what we call real systems change. You guys are going to have to partner, and you mentioned partnerships with, in the United States, the three biggest food service companies, Sodexo, Compass Group, and also Armark. And I'm just wondering, do you all talk? Because there is a national campaign that's pushing the three biggest food service groups to purchase real food, to look at the sustainability in your supply chain. And I was just wondering if you were familiar with the campaign, and do you partner with what is probably perceived as your competition, but to have real system change? You guys are going to have to work together to really create change along the system. And I was just wondering if you had any comment regarding that.
Thank you. So to start with, I'm not aware of this campaign, so I cannot.
You should discuss together after.
You will explain me everything about this campaign right after. The term real food, I can tell you, I buy real ingredients, which are delivered in kitchen, cooked by chefs who love food. And so they cook real food today. So I don't know about the campaign, but what I can tell you is, being part of, being at the heart of it, I can tell you we are already talking about real food. As it relates to partnering with others, absolutely. Specifically on that, again, I don't know, but partnering with others and including some of our competitors is absolutely essential. Alone, we will not change the system. it's too big. So it's really about working together to change the standard, raise the standard, creating coalition, and the broader they are, not only with competitor, but with NGO, with representative of government, with other industry, customer and supplier, the better it will be.
There is another question.
Hi, thank you for your intervention and also for pushing for more communication between procurement and sustainability departments. I think it's indeed really important. I have a question regarding, we know that for many companies, most of the impact comes from the raw material production stage, and that there are many issues related to agriculture, monoculture, loss of biodiversity, the use of pesticides, etc. Do you have in place some partnerships with farmers that supply your company, or is it something that you would consider to help them transition towards more sustainable practices?
Thank you.
Good question.
Thank you, Hugo. When there is an issue with the sound, you need to say thank you, Hugo. Yes, thank you. Absolutely. Partnering with farmer, going upstream as much as possible, we need to do. You've seen the video? Perfect example. At a small scale, but again, it's about moving further. Here in this country, in France, we partner with 23,000 producers. We also use a distribution platform, but the more we go upstream, the more we know we can influence. So definitely, we absolutely need to partner, and I'm sure we can do more. I'm sure we can do more than what we do today. We strive to improve every day at what we do, and definitely working more with the upstream and with the farmers is a necessity if you want to change the deal.
There is another question.
Hello. I'm surprised actually Devita didn't ask the question. My question was about what about trying to create a new supply chain that is a format of like local, supply? Like, are you like when you have like 5 restaurants, are you trying to create some kind of supply chain that are extremely local? I mean, in terms of, we can think about vegetables and fruits at least.
Yes, we do. When it matters to, when we talk about fruit and vegetables,
Yes.
dairy, some type of meat, and bakery, for instance, we are already doing it very actively. And if I look at my organization, it depends of the country, because all countries are very specific, very local. But if you look here in France, for instance, I have around the country a network of buyers. So we have people in every region, and we have many sites, and those site managers, they act as a magnet, to hunt, and they are scouting opportunities locally. They put this opportunity in contact with our local supply chain organization, because again, you need to make sure that the local supplier does not produce the yogurt in his garage. It needs to be a serious stuff. So we need to guarantee food safety, quality along the chain. But yes, we do have local procurement organization in France, for instance, in this country. And we do, for the 4 type of categories I mentioned, we do actually build local supply chain.
And now, last question, yeah.
Hey, thanks for your comments. So I'm fascinated to hear the Chief Procurement Officer have a conversation about local procurement, because those things don't mix in big companies. Normally, the Chief Procurement Officer is all about gaining scale, leveraging the value of the organization, reducing overhead, all the kind of positive purchase price variance, and all the kinds of things that procurement does and does well. So speak a little bit to the challenge you have inside the organization, or perhaps with your peers or with your leaders, to talk about this implementation of a concept that sort of runs against the grain of what most procurement organizations think they're supposed to be doing.
Thanks. Thank you, Hugo. That's a great question. This is a story of my life. Because basically it's full of contradiction, because the PPV, purchasing price variance, respecting budget, are economic imperatives that we need to deliver. At the same time, the company will grow only if it's sustainable, in the economic sense of being sustainable, if we serve our customer, if we give to consumer what they need. And I truly believe that being local is a source of growth for this company. I truly believe that partnering with supplier to find new technology innovation is a source of growth for this company. The thing is that we need to manage sometimes some short-term contradiction, but if we keep the long term, and this is the advantage of Sodexo, being a family-owned business, having the values that this company has, it really enables us to make a difference when it comes to building the future, being local, and partnering with others.
So thank you so much, because we're going to start in less than 1 hour. So thank you so much, Francois, to playing this hot sitter, and thank you, Hugo. Thank you so much.